Good evening and welcome to Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation. I am your host, Donna Gray Banks, and tonight I have the pleasure of being with Keena Bryant, who is you're from DC, right? Aren't you?
I'm actually from St. Petersburg, Florida,
Oh,
but
St.
I
Pete's.
live in the
Mm-hmm.
DMV area, yes.
Okay. And Keena has her own company. So you want to tell us a little bit about that, Keena, a little bit about yourself?
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
So, good evening, everyone. First, I would like to thank Donna for inviting me to this marvelous platform. As I stated early, I am originally from St. Petersburg, Florida, and currently live in Bowie, Maryland. I'm a proud mother, grandmother, and entrepreneur, author, and business strategist. So I am the founder of New Solutions Services, and I'm currently the Chief Operating Officer of Umbrella Therapeutic Services, a mental health facility in Washington, D.C. And
And
so
Keena, so, go
yes,
ahead.
go ahead.
So you don't have time for hobbies, right? Because
I really
you have.
don't, but I will tell you what I would like to do.
Okay, okay.
I do enjoy reading in between airport time and
Mm-hmm.
between all of my other endeavors, traveling, mentoring others, participating in faith-based organizations, as well as just helping people grow personally and professionally.
Well, I want to thank some people who sponsored us this evening, Mr. Gary Johnson Media and Bethune Publishing House, Inc., author Angie Ransom Jones, who's a ghostwriter, a Dante Production, Isla's Diamonds, and of course, the Fresh Book Festival, which will be held in the beautiful city of Daytona Beach, February 25, 26, 27, in the year 2027. Whew. It has been 16 years, and I'll tell you, Miss
Um,
Bryant, this group of ladies and men who are on today have been on this journey with me about that long. So I really appreciate them coming back and being on Zoom and on a fresh conversation and helping to sponsor this conversation this evening. So before we get into your book, let's talk about your company,
sure.
NU Solutions.
Yes. So it's
In
new
you, like in
solutions.
you,
Yeah,
right?
no,
I
like
love that.
new. It's just
Yeah,
new in
new
you.
in you. Your company provides tax services, an emerging leaders institute, career coaching, and other things that you do in your company. Tell us all about it.
Sure. So New Solutions was really born from a passion that I have with helping people move from confusion to clarity. And so throughout my career, other people has always come to me for career advice, leadership and development, operation strategies. So I just realized that this can be a practical support if I combine professionalism with empowerment. So I created New Solutions to help people not only build their business, but to build their professional and also build their confidence. So over the time, the company evolved from primarily a tax business to leadership coaching, career coaching, development, organization consulting, training programs. And so today we support entrepreneurs, professionals, organizations that are trying to level up either on their personal level or professional level.
Tell us about the Emerging Leaders Institute.
Awesome. So, I created the Emerging Leaders Institute actually as a program under my 9 to 5 job. So under my
Mm-hmm.
CEO job at Umbrella Therapeutic Services. So I have a passion of working with young people. I love working with young people. And my CEO allowed me to create this program where I took all our entry level professionals and I did a 10-week training program with them. And then we ended that training program at a beautiful retreat in Clearwater,
Ah.
Florida. And so that gave them the opportunity to train on soft skills, leadership development, organization, time management, and an entire track on personal growth.
And tell me the difference. Now, how old is the company?
Umbrella or New Solutions?
The Emerging Leaders Institute.
So actually, Emerging Leaders
When did
Institute
it
is,
start? Yeah.
yeah, that was birthed about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see a difference? between the emerging leaders of 2 years ago and the young people that you have now?
I would tell you this, Donna. I can
Okay,
see a difference of the emerging leaders who took the curriculum serious.
okay,
So currently, currently work with six of the emerging leaders. I'm not going to say all of them made it there,
right,
but the majority made it there, and I see a big difference. Whether they went back to school to obtain their masters, they all, some of them have been granted promotions, and some are career continue to just go forward in their career path. So yes, some didn't quite make it,
right.
but
So you said something about life skills, which I'm really surprised at that you are having to go back and grab that and bring it up. What is that? What is that about? What does that encompass?
well, the generations change. So, we
Yes,
have our baby boomers, we have our
yes,
Generation X, I'm a Generation
right.
X, millenniums, and Gen Zs.
We have our COVID baby.
So our COVID babies are like, yeah, yeah. So they didn't, the school system did not teach them about life skills as much as they grasp. Back in the early, in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. So there's some
Hmm.
things that I had because millennials want I call them the microwave generation. They want to put it in the microwave, push 2 minutes, and it's done. Okay.
Right.
They
Period.
want to, complete one application and they want a job. So I had to teach them number one, patience. I had to teach them how to trust the process. I had to teach them how to complete the process. So just had to take them literally back to our age
Right.
and teach them some of those golden nuggets that we were taught. And I must say the majority of the emergence leaders are all graduates of HBCU. So I am very fond of HBCU, okay?
Thank you.
Because because that's where you actually have professors that care.
Hmm.
And so if you went to a PWI, you was just a number in the room. So
Right.
I took some of my HBC training and
Hmm.
brought it to the emerging leader training where they knew that they had a confidant, they knew they had a mentor, and they knew they had a cheerleader. So.
Mm. And I think I have a couple of mentors that I don't think they've ever earned anything. And it's really
Mm,
amazing to me.
mm.
Like, Miss Donna, we throw that in the dryer. So, yeah, I could see that there's a real difference in the generations.
Yes.
So let's talk about your book. The book Level Up Career Journal, Climbing the Ladder in Style, was born out of the need for a lot of things, but specifically for women and men to pivot from positions that were eliminated under the current administration, over 100,000 in the DMV, as I understand it, in that area, and 300,000 nationwide. Tell us how you woke up and decided to be a change maker in the lives of these individuals.
Well, I watch many of my friends and many people lose jobs, especially in the DMV area. And it really touched me personally because we
Mm,
had many people who had dedicated 10, 15 to 20 years to organizations or agencies and suddenly found themselves unemployed, uncertain about their future. And so I saw talented people struggle with confidence,
mm,
identity, fear,
yeah,
and
yeah.
not knowing the next step, what their next step will be. They start thinking that I start thinking that people needed more than motivation, but they needed a roadmap. So that's when I decided to create Level Up Career Journal. And that's how it was born. I created something practical, encouraging, transformative that will help people reset, rebuild, and reposition themselves for the next chapter of their lives. Because just think about it. You have been in a job for 20 years.
I know
Everything has changed. Everything has changed. The way you
everything.
complete applications, the way you write your resumes, the interviewing, the behavioral questions that they ask now. To your resume, it's going through a AI generator and it's picking up, keywords to even put your name on a list to be interviewed. So, That's how Level Up was born, just to help people
Yeah.
identify their wins. Yeah.
Yeah, when you put the blueprint together holistically, right?
Hmm.
Did you really think it would morph into what has happened right now? I mean, are you surprised that how well it's done?
Um,
Because it's a scary thing to
it
think
is.
that to think that you could write the blueprint and everybody's going to follow it. And then here you have it, and people are begging to be a part of it. I mean, I think it's fabulous, right?
Yes, it's scary, but God,
Yeah.
my Father knows all things,
Right.
and when He gives you the vision and He gives you the tools and the resources, it's up to you to be a good steward of His blessings. So yes, I was scared. I was terrified. Who was going to listen to Kina?
Right.
But what I realized is that there was a gap. There was a gap.
Mm.
There was a gap of this information that was missing from a generation of people who didn't have to use it. And so, therefore, when I decided to self-publish, so I self-published this book.
Right. That's one of my
Um,
questions. Yeah.
I had to learn the entire process from
Yes.
writing, editing, formatting, branding, publishing forms, and marketing. So what I did is I took my time and I wrote the first chapter. I wrote the introduction and the first chapter. Then I created a focus group. And I created a focus group of young emerging leaders as well as wisdom leaders and entry levels and retirement. And I created this focus group and allowed them to complete the first chapter.
Mm.
And so when we came back within 5 weeks, they were able to give me what worked for them, what didn't work for them, how I can enhance it, what would they wanted to do more, what challenges they had completing that first chapter. So that was my first biggest lesson. Then, after I wrote all the entire journey, which is 6 months, I had to believe that my message was enough to promote it confidently.
Mm-hmm.
I had to believe that I was investing in making professional impact. Now, I have to give a special shout out, Donna. I have to give a special shout out to my beautiful daughter, Kiera
Hey,
Allen.
Kiera.
She is the creative designer for New Solutions, and she created all the illustrations and creative visuals throughout the journal. With made this project more than just a book. It became a family collaborations. And so now the book is very special to me. New Solutions is very special to me because it's not just about growth. I'm not just helping people grow anymore. It's about legacy and creating empowerment, not just for the community, but for my family as well.
That's New Solutions. That's funny. When I saw the logo, I thought it was in you have solutions,
Mm,
right?
I like that.
Right?
Kiara,
So,
Kiara, write that down. Kiara, write that down.
so I mean, I don't mind that I didn't do it right, but I thought both things are really good. You know, in
Yes.
you, you have the solutions if you
Yeah.
want to. So, when you were dealing with the focus group, and somebody said that was a very excellent idea for you to do
Thank you.
that, did you find that some people pivoted completely out of the careers that they were in, or
Yes.
decided to? Okay, talk about that.
So, some people pivot. So, I love the word pivot. And so I'm gonna tell you what pivot is the main topic of my next book coming soon.
Okay, good. Look,
You
have me
guys the
back.
first to hear it. You guys are the first to hear it. Pivot is a main point in my next book. But people pivot to entrepreneurship.
Mm,
They pivot to coaching. They pivot to contracting. Okay. And that's when I fell in love with small business as well, because I am blessed to have a small business market where I actually do entrepreneurship class through an organization called the Empowerment Economic and Innovation Center. So, we focus on small entrepreneurs. But yeah, they figured it out. Some people reposition themselves within corporate America. So some people are still climbing that ladder,
right.
while others discovered that they wanted to start a business. by becoming consultants, coaches, and entrepreneurs. They start actually unlocking their hidden gifts and their passions and learn how to make money from their passions. So yes, yes, entrepreneur that they pivot to entrepreneurship. They pivot a lot of people pivot to freelancing.
Right.
Freelancing is huge, contracting
Huge.
themselves out for the skills, their top skill
Right.
sets that
Right.
are needed for small businesses or solopreneurs who don't have the staff to do all of the tasks that is needed. So, yeah.
Let me ask you about the scary part, right?
Hmm.
So, what do you tell someone who's been in a position for 20 years, not quite at the point where they are ready to retire? So you have the medical issue, right?
Hmm.
And not quite to the point where they're willing, they didn't know at the time, but willing to change and want to stay in their lane. How did you get them to say, listen, look at the other shining stars in the sky? Because there's a lot. Was
Sure.
it more like a therapy or how did you manage to do that? Because
So there's a
sometimes people are tunnel vision, right? And they say,
yes.
I am a CPA, I'm going to be a CPA no matter what, right? As opposed to saying, well, I could be an adjunct professor,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? In a
Hmm.
college, or I could.
Hmm.
How did you handle that? Did you just give them other ways to use their skills? Because some people don't see it. Some people just don't see it.
They don't sit. Yeah, so in climbing the ladder, it does talk about how to pivot and use your transferable skills. So I talk about transferable skills a lot. But I started with people, and I'm glad you used CPA because you had the CPAs, you had the CEOs, you had the directors,
Right.
and
Those
so
those high
the high
positions.
level,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So I reminded them that their job title was part of what they did, but it wasn't who they were. Okay. I help them identify and encourage them to pause before panicking. Because you're talking about people in the six-figure category. Okay. And if you make six figures, you live a six-figure life.
Exactly. You live in a six-figure home,
Exactly.
drive a six-figure car.
Car.
All of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So I told them to pause before they panic. And then I let them know this is the time to reassess their values, their skills, their accomplishments, and their future goals. So what I had them do in the exercise is I had them write down all of their skills that they know. I mean, from
Mm,
the small, because the point is the small wins is actually is going to what get you to the top. It's not that I manage a budget of $3.9 million. That
right.
no, okay, no. How did you manage that budget of 3.9? Because I am organized. See that small win? Being organized and knowing how to create budget reports. That's a small win that you need to understand that that's that transferable skill that can get you to your next level. Okay, it might not look like you want it to look, but it will be. It's your next level, and so I just help them realize that pivot like pivot could be something greater.
It
It
can
could be
be. And you
something
have to look
greater.
outside of the
Yes.
IBMs,
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
major organizations, right? I had a friend who is a CPA who was in the same situation. And I said, have you ever thought about working for the Boys and Girls Club of America?
Hmm.
Now, it's not your Boys and Girls Club in your neighborhood.
Right.
It's the Boys and Girls Club of America.
Hmm.
It's those types of businesses that they don't look at because they've always been in this corporate structure.
Yes.
And
Yes.
lo and behold, she did get a position making not as much money, but being more community service oriented and knowing that, those things that you never had time to do when you're in corporate America. So, yeah,
Exactly.
you lost maybe $15,000, right? But you can work from home, so you don't have to go anywhere. So that's
Flexibility.
your $15,000 right there. That's your $15,000 right there. So did anyone want to just up and relocate? Because I do understand. I have some friends in the DMV. I lived there a very long time, but there's a city I believe in Maryland that's very melanated and very wealthy. I can't think of the name of it, but
Bowie,
that particular, go ahead.
Bowie, Bitcherville, Upper Marlboro.
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly what it is. And so a lot of people have just left, right? So there's tons of houses on the market. Were there more people that you dealt with ready to just leave, or did they want to stick and stay?
Well, that depend on their situation that they was in.
Hmm.
Absolutely, relocation was definitely an option, but it was approached with strategy. Okay, all right. So it my those clients had to evaluate several things. They had to evaluate their financial stability because you can live in a Bowie home and live in Bowie, Upper Marlboro. I'm blessed I
Right.
do live in Bowie, but and it costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of money,
I lived in
but
Alexandria. I do understand.
yeah. Oh my God, yes,
Yeah.
right. And so and there's a true story. I came across a job maybe 2 years ago that was in Mobile, Alabama.
Mm.
Right?
That's a
And
stretch.
yes, and yet I can find a gorgeous home in Mobile, Alabama for
Hmm. Hmm.
$300,000. That will be a 600 to $700,000 home here. However, the six-figure salary turns into the five-figure salary. And so when they start thinking about relocation, they have to think about the financial stability, their family responsibility, which is huge.
Right.
Um, the industry opportunities. And so I always, when I'm doing career coaching, I talk about industry gaps in the map. So like if you are a huge customer service oriented place, Florida, y'all are the call center world. If you, of course, you want to go into the more Silicon Valley, you want to go out west. And so the industry opportunities and then the cost of living. You have to think about the cost of living. But this is the most important. You have to be emotional ready.
Mm.
Be emotional ready. So Donna, I lived here in the DMV early for about 11 years in the 90s going into early 2000. And then I pivot and came back to Florida and I lived there for 20 years. And in the middle of COVID, my son and I and his family decided to drive to Maryland to see my daughter, the DMV. And that's when I said, yeah, I think I want to move
I
back.
want to come back.
I want to
Right.
come back. I want to come back. And it was the best decision I ever made, but I made it on my emotional readiness. It's not like I didn't have a job in Florida. It's not like I wasn't doing well in Florida. I made an emotional decision. So when you're going to relocate, you have to be emotional ready.
Yeah, but you didn't go to a place you didn't know.
No, I did not. No, I did
Right.
not. I did
So
not.
that's
I
that's
did not
different
know.
than up and going to Mobile, Alabama. I have nothing against Mobile, Alabama, but it's really different from the DMV. I mean, it's like going from New York to, yeah.
Mobile, Alabama.
Right. So you have to have your whole mindset has to change on culture and
Everything, all that.
restaurants
Cost
and
of, yes,
yeah, everything,
all
all of
all the,
that.
and you have to consider your long-term goals. Is
Right.
Mobile, Alabama is where I want to retire? Probably not.
Right.
Um, Probably
Yeah,
not.
not.
But so you have to, and so I'm in my early 50s, so I need to make that decision. So relocation, you have to consider all those options.
Well, when you decide to retire, you might come back to Florida because we have the best homestead exemptions and all that good stuff. Because there's old people who live here. So, I mean, politics aside, there are some other good things about living in the state of Florida. So, walk us through the book and how it will assist you 360 in your situation when I come to you. Do I write it out? Do I think it out? Do I record it out? How does it work for me?
So when I designed Level Up Career Journal, it was very personal to me because I love to journal. I wish I can turn my camera. I have plenty of journals because I
Me
believe,
too.
What did our father to what did our father tell Jeremy? You got to write it out. You got to write the plan. You got yes, exactly. You got to write it out. So so I designed that for you to write it out so you can read it and always go back to it. Okay.
Mm,
And it was designed to help people evaluate where they are, where they want to go, and intentionally create the strategy from there. Okay. And so one of the methods that I use is called the value method. And it helped the readers focus on their value within themselves. And so V, they're going to concentrate on their victories. A, they're going to concentrate on their assets. L, they're going to think about the lessons that they learned. U, they're going to concentrate on uplifting themselves. And E, they're going to elevate, take it to the next level. And so this method encouraged people to reflect on where they've been and recognize their strengths and learn from their setbacks. Every setback has a lesson, okay?
mm.
And then encourage them to go through the process and elevate to the next season with confidence. And so the journal includes a lot of goal setting exercises, reflection prompts, it includes a career tracking tool. It has confidence building activities, leadership development strategies, as well as personal growth exercise. And so I call that the 360 approach. Okay. And because it addressed their mindset, their career growth, it gave them personal accountability, confidence, and future in planning it all together.
Did you think about what else they would need, like therapy?
Yes.
Okay, tell us about that. Did you
And
kind of engage other therapists or
so
yeah.
again, I am blessed to be a COO of a
Okay.
mental health facility. So I
Okay.
am surrounded. I
By
am
therapists.
surrounded by therapists.
Okay,
I am
okay.
surrounded by therapists and psychologists and all things in mental health, and and I love that job. But yes, I did. I seeked out a couple of therapists I know. I am personally a life coach. I seeked out. I talked to a psychologist because, and really, I sought them out in the chapter that talking about the imposter syndrome.
Mm,
Okay, not believing who they really are. Um, you have all these qualifications that's on this job description, um, but that title is scaring you. Who am I to be an executive director? Okay, I was just an analyst. Okay, but I did all the things that job description.
right.
So I talked to the therapist and the psychologist on how to get people to move past the imposter syndrome because that imposter syndrome is dangerous. It's the number one enemy when it comes to growing in your career. So that's when I sought help with the psychiatrist and the therapist that
That's good because
I am
that
blessed to
gives
be.
you a whole package, right?
Yes. Hmm.
Listen, I'm going to help you work through this pivot, but if you need to talk to somebody, I have some help over here,
Yes.
which is really important.
Yes.
You can
Yes.
talk to your girlfriends, you can talk to your mom if she's blessed to still be on this planet. But you really need somebody in the middle, and
Hmm.
a good therapist will put you in the middle. Let me ask you about your self-publishing journey. So, did you do it through Amazon?
I did.
You
I did.
did. Okay.
I did.
So tell us what the hardest part was.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest, Donna.
Okay, go ahead.
Kiara
Come on.
did it. Kiara did it through Amazon.
Kiara. It's nice to have a young person in your pocket, I tell
I,
you.
I I am blessed. I birthed my team. Kiara is the creative designer. Trey is the manager and the CFO. I'm blessed. I created great, great young adults.
Well, listen, literacy is a legacy. That's our tagline, right? So you want to leave literacy behind for sure.
But to be
Um,
honest, we did walk through it together, and it's
I didn't do anything. No. No, it's funny.
it can be complicated. You just really have
Yeah.
to go through each step. You really have to go through each step. And once we got through, and I'm telling you, the hardest part was the illustrations. That's just hard. That was hard to me. But
Hmm.
once we got our final draft and we got our manuscript, It was just literally going through each step. And when we got to the final end, you just push a button and it goes live. I was like, wait, 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 wait,
Wait, are we ready? Are
wait.
we ready?
I was like, do we need to read it again? Wait, Kara, do we need to read it again?
I think
So,
everyone is like that. Yeah, it's too, and
yes,
then it's too late, right? Once it's
yes,
gone, it's just way too late. So,
exactly, exactly. So I did have help there, but it wasn't that bad. It was not that bad.
hmm and price point. How did you get to your price point?
Research. So
Okay.
I researched, and that was one of the questions on my focus group. I asked them
Well,
what
how
would they
much would
pay,
you pay for
how much
a
would you
book
pay
like
for it?
this?
And then I did research and other, and there's not a lot of career journals out there. So I was like, okay,
No,
God, I
there's
see what
not.
you were doing. I was
Yeah,
like, okay, God, I got
yeah,
you.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And so, and then the people, I thought about the
There's a
people
lot of
who really
self-help journals,
is exactly, yes.
right?
I
And
thought about the
spiritual
people who would buy it.
journals,
Yep.
but not
Self-help,
career.
spiritual growth.
No,
Yes.
not at all. I looked. I said, wow, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me, can you tell me about the next book just a little bit about what we can just a snippet? Maybe?
So the next book is, I'll give you the title and then you guys
Okay,
can take it from there, okay?
that's it.
And don't quote me on this title. This is what he's telling me now,
Right now.
okay? This is what
Yeah,
he's telling me now.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
the title is Dare to Pivot, the Leadership Guide of Change.
I'm telling you, pivot is a very strong word. And when people use it, I don't think they really understand how strong it is, right?
It's very,
Because a
it's very
pivot is
scary.
a 360-degree turn, right? It is a turn.
Pivot.
And I think most women don't think about their pivots. Having children is a pivot. It changes your life
Mm-hmm.
360 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Getting married is a
Yep.
pivot.
Pivot. Mm-hmm.
Not only do you pivot, you change your name, right? You,
Yes.
you change the name that you've had for whatever years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, a pivot is when you get divorced.
Yes.
When you get divorced and all the people that you used to hang out with, you can't hang out with anymore
Mm-hmm.
because that whole group of people don't want you around, right? Or the pivot is when you unfortunately lose your partner. And those are serious pivots that we take all the time and never really give it a whole lot of thought.
Mm-hmm.
But let something happen into our career and we are, oh, you know, you should have done that. Years ago when you decided to have three kids and a husband and a dog and a squirrel that you're growing in, you know what I mean? It was just, so we
Exactly.
go through it all the time, but we
Yeah.
don't look at it as a pivot. We look at it as our life journey, but they are all pivots, you know.
So
When,
let's take that deeper. What
mhm,
happens when you are a leader? You're a leader.
right.
You're a leader and you need to pivot. So not only you're dealing with the pivot for yourself, but you're dealing with the pivot of your organization and you're dealing with the pivot of your staff. You're dealing with the
Mm,
pivot of your policies, your procedures.
all of it. I'm a real baton person. I am always ready to hand it back
Mm-hmm.
because I believe that you should go forward. And I
Yes.
always try to have somebody back there to hand it to. And I wish we did more of that because the pivot would be so much
So
easier,
much easier.
so much easier.
Yeah.
So I don't have any more questions, but if there's anything else you want to add to all the questions that I asked you already, please do at this time.
Sure. So I would just encourage anyone who's dealing with a career loss or a career change, that never allow your setback to make you question your value.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes God removes you from a comfortable place
Mm.
so he can have you walk to your purpose. And I just encourage everyone to keep leveling up, even when it's uncomfortable. And I want to thank you, sincerely thank you, Donna, for this opportunity,
Oh,
for
no problem.
creating this
Yeah.
platform
Yeah.
that empowers authors and
Oh, this
entrepreneurs.
is this is I can't even tell you who's on this call. There's just
Okay. And I have to,
legacies, yeah, on this
great,
call tonight. And
great.
so it's good that the connection is being made. But listen, before we go, I want everybody to find out how to get a copy of your book, contact you,
Sure.
and NU Solutions,
Okay.
as I put it. And
Uh,
if anybody has a question for Miss Bryant, please focus on it now. You can take yourself off the microphone. Anyone? No?
So Donna, I have to give a huge shout out to my son, Kenneth
Oh
Allen.
yeah, hey Kenneth, how you doing?
For he actually was the one who connected us directly, and I'm truly
I love your
grateful.
son. I really do. You
And I'm
know,
truly
yeah.
grateful for the connection and his support. You can find my book on Amazon, Climbing the Ladder, the Career Journal. You also can find me on social media platforms. I am Keena J on Instagram, at New Solution Services on Instagram, Keena Bryant on Facebook, and I'm on LinkedIn under Keena J Bryant. And my beautiful daughter just put the link in the chat. I told you
All
my kids are
right.
on it. And you could go to my website at newsolutionsservices.com.
And so thank you very much for being here this evening. This is our first this is our first comeback for a whole year. And so it was really, I'm really grateful for you to be with us today. And so everybody who's here, thank you for being here. I know it's been a long journey for us. This past year, we haven't been together, but we're going to put an end to that and get back together and do good things for entrepreneurs and authors this year in 26 and 27. And so thank you, Miss Bryant. I'm sure we'll see each other. I hope you will come to the Fresh Book
I
Festival.
will
Your
see you
son is
in
here, so you have
February.
no reason not to
I will
come
see
visit
you in
us.
February. Yes.
And I
Yes.
will say, when the lights go out and the cell phone towers go down, all you have left is a flashlight and a good book. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you
Good,
next week.
good
Bye
night.
bye. Good night.